And we often talk about whether they would want to see their parents again or their parent again. And the answer is most commonly yes. And the reason for that is because they want to ask the question, why? Why did they do that to me? They're trying to make sense of it and understand it. Hi, welcome back. Stuart here. I'm a psychotherapist in the UK. I specialise in working with people who have experienced trauma, and I watch and react to music videos that you send my way. I give you my first thoughts, my first impressions from the perspective of a psychotherapist, but I also bring into that my perspective of being a father and being a son and being a human being. Today we have a much requested track. It is NF and it's called How Could You Leave Us? It came out 7 years ago and has been watched 84 million times. I've been following the NF journey from the beginning, working my way through the tracks in order. I love what I've heard so far, the way NF has been sharing his life and how he is using his music to process and share his experiences. So for those of you who don't know, NF is an artist from America, and in relation to this song, to give it some context and what I think it's going to be about, I'm just going to read a quick extract from his Wikipedia page. So please correct me in the comments if any of this is inaccurate, because Wikipedia isn't always the most reliable source of information. And it says that NF was born in 1991. He has 2 younger sisters. His parents divorced and he was raised by his mother until his father had to take him away when her boyfriend abused him and one of his sisters. His mother died from an overdose of opioids in 2009, which led to him dedicating the song How Could You Leave Us to her. So that sets the scene for those who haven't seen any of my previous reactions where he does open up about this topic. If you haven't checked out those other videos, then please do. I feel they are some of the best reactions I've done on this channel. I had quite a lot to say about them. I'm also going to try something a little bit different today. I do check my comments and I get a few, but not that many, that say I do stop and talk too much, as in I stop the music, stop the track too much, and that I should consider watching the whole thing and then commenting at the end. And there's pros and cons of this. Firstly, the cons, copyright is a thing and it's really hard to justify not stopping and commenting when it comes to copyright and fair use justification. I actually made a video about this process that you can check out on the channel. However, if I'm going to get hit by copyright, even when I stop it every single line, then does it really matter? This channel doesn't make any money either way. The pro of watching it all the way through first is that I really get to experience the track as a whole without constant interruptions. And sometimes I do reactions and I stop it frequently. And then later in the day, I might come back and listen to the track again. And I wish that my first experience had been to hear the track as a whole and to experience it as a whole. So swings and roundabouts. So today I'm going to try and do very minimal stopping during the track, certainly not line by line as I have done in the past, and then go off on massive tangents. And I will let you know my comments and my thoughts at the end. And then please comment if you like this way of doing it. Did this work for you? Didn't it work for you? And just tell me why. So here we go. This is NF, How Could You Leave Us? From the NF Real Music YouTube channel. I'll obviously leave a link to the full video or the full original video below. Hope you enjoy.
How could you leave so unexpected? We waited for you, but You just left us. We needed you. I needed you. Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness to kills. Mama told me she loved me. I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. Welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison. Let me out of my cell. You say you proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you coming to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. I'm in a room with the parent that I don't barely know. Some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes. I don't get it, mom. Don't you wanna watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no, but you won't do it, will you? You gon' keep popping till them pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you. Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? I got this picture in my room and it kills me, but I don't need a picture of my mom, I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have, but why do I feel like I lost something that I never had? You should have been there when I graduated, told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, mom? We're too young to understand. Where you at, huh? Yeah, I know them drugs that got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes, they got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I am not laughing. And what you don't realize and what you're not grasping, that I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand it. I ain't gonna say that I forgive you, cause it hasn't happened. I thought that maybe I'd feel better as time passes. If you really cared for me, then where you at then? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room, talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. A couple weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once, I guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took everything inside of me not to scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. They found you on the floor, I could tell you felt hollow. Gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had, plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? Why would you leave us? Why would you leave us? How could you leave us? How could you leave us? Why would you leave us? Sometimes I think about sometimes I think about things like, you know, when I have kids and like, you won't be there, you know, you won't be there for any of that. I'll never get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would've just called you. I wish I would've just picked up the phone. I wish you were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. Pills got you right. And pills got you right. I wish you were here.
Oh. Oh, I think you can tell my reaction to that. It's hit me hard. It's obviously making me think about my own mum. And I'm lucky I have a great relationship with my mum. I see her at least once a week. My dog's just come in. I think she could probably hear me sniffing away. Come here. Go. Get you on the camera. Oh, you're too little. Let's see me get you on the camera. Come over here. Come on. Oh, hello. Come here. Come here. Good girl. You're a good girl. There we go. You just want a pet. Get you a biscuit in a minute. Oh, that's Daisy. She's my 14-year-old Labradoodle. Who's obviously 14, is getting on a bit, so it's going to be a sad time soon. So, need to give her the... give the love. I still can. Good girl. Won't be long. Get your biscuit. So yeah, like I was saying, I'm lucky I've got a great relationship with my mum. I see her at least once a week. And, NF was really sharing his experience there, putting himself in a very vulnerable position in front of a lot of people, showing it's okay to feel. I mean, his emotional response to this, as hard as it is, feels appropriate. It was terrible what happened to him. It's a very painful thing to go through. Okay, let's have a look at some of the lyrics just to see if there's anything that stands out that I can talk about from a mental health or a psychology perspective. The state of that. I'm on my way. There, look. So, how could you leave us so unexpected? We waited for you, but you just left us. We needed you, I needed you. So from what I read out from Wikipedia earlier, it seems that his mum left him in two ways. He was taken away from her. He was taken from her due to abuse from her boyfriend, but she was also taken away from him by the overdose. So it's like kind of lost her twice. Yo, I don't know what it's like to be addicted to pills, but I do know what it's like to be a witness. It kills. Mama told me she loved me. I'm thinking this isn't real. I think of you when I get a whiff of that cigarette smell, yeah. So, even though he isn't personally addicted to pills, he still experiences their effects. They still cause him harm. And I see this both ways too. I see the impact of parental substance abuse. I see the impact of that on children, and I see the impact of drug use by children, teens, adolescents, young adults on their parents. No one is unaffected by that. It hurts everyone. I'm gonna have to let my dog out. She's absolutely begging to go out the back. Just please give me 2 minutes. I'll cut this bit out, don't worry. Right, I'm back. Apologies, I had to let her out. She's not very good at holding it, so once she tells us she needs to go, she needs to go. Where did I get up to? Yeah, welcome to the bottom of hell. They say pain is a prison, let me out of my cell. You say you're proud of me, but you don't know me that well. Suggesting that she wasn't there much for him. He says, you don't know me that well. Sit in my room, tears running down my face, and I yell into my pillowcases. Say you come in to get us, then call a minute later just to tell us you're not. I'm humiliated. And most of you know I work with children and teenagers in a children's service. And this being let down by parents has a really big impact. The, what do you call it? The inconsistency of the parents' behaviour. We could talk at length about Bowlby and his attachment theory, and this kind of situation can end up with an insecure attachment due to his lack of confidence in his mother's availability and his mother's attunement. And also Bowlby had this idea of something called maternal deprivation, which means that continuous disruption in the attachment with a parent could end up causing a whole range of problems later on, such as cognitive, behavioural, social, emotional problems. Very similar to what we might call developmental trauma these days. I mean, to some extent, it probably was a developmental trauma. Developmental trauma not being a formal clinical diagnosis, but a lens through which we can think about how someone's experiences may have impacted them. And I wonder whether NF kind of experienced any of these signs. I don't know much about his personal life to be able to comment on that. What is apparent, though, is his use of music to process and try to make sense what happened to him. And I think that is very helpful for him and a good message to share, that it's okay to allow yourself to genuinely feel experience about what's happened. And then he says, I'm in a room with a parent that I barely know, some lady in the corner watching us while she's taking notes, a supervised visit. Imagine the impact of that on a child. That suggestion that your mother is so unpredictable that there needs to be another adult in the room to supervise, to keep you safe. And I work in a system like this. The child's safety is absolutely paramount. And if that means removing them from a parent, then maybe that has to happen. But then you end up traumatizing the parent even more, and you end up most likely traumatizing the child. It really, really sucks. And I'm part of this process, and it breaks my heart. And even though logically and intellectually it can make sense to have to do that, it doesn't feel right. It just never feels right. I don't get it, Mum. Don't you want to watch your babies grow? I guess pills are more important. All you have to say is no. But you won't do it, will you? You're going to keep popping till those pills kill you. I know you're gone, but I can still feel you. For a child still lightly developing their sense of self in the world, what does that say to them about how they fit into everything? Pills are more important than you. Me getting what I need is more important than you getting what you need. And I'm not blaming Mum here. Mum must have had her own difficulties, her own experiences that led to this, and this being her coping strategy. It's not easy to get out of. Mum doesn't wake up every day and say, you know what, today I'm going to neglect my children and I'm going to take drugs instead. That doesn't happen. There would have been a long history here of things, and she obviously didn't get the support she needed for whatever reason. But we can't just blame her. Then we have the chorus, and then he goes on to say, I got this picture in my room and it kills me, but I don't need a picture of my mum. I need the real thing. Now a relationship is something we won't ever have. Why do I feel like I lost something that I never have? You should have been there when I graduated. Told me you love me and congratulations. Instead you left us at the window waiting. Where you at, Mum? We're too young to understand. Where you at? All those moments that NF experienced that should be shared weren't. Yeah, I know them drugs got you held captive. I can see it in your eyes. They got your mind captured. Some say it's fun to get the high, but I'm not laughing. And what you don't realise, and what you're not grasping, that I was nothing but a kid who couldn't understand. I ain't going to say that I forgive you, because it hasn't happened. I thought that maybe I feel better as time passes. If you really cared for me, then where you at then? So NF's saying, I was just a kid. I needed you. And I've said it before on this channel that children need the 3 S's. They need to be seen, they need to be safe, they need to be soothed. And it doesn't feel like any of those things were met. Then there's the chorus again, and we're moving into the last part. Our last conversation, you and I sat in the living room talking about my music, and I brought you something to listen to. You started crying, telling me this isn't you. You know, he brings her something he's amazing at, has a real talent for. She dismisses it. She dismisses him again, rejected again. A couple of weeks later, guess you were singing a different tune. You took them pills for the last time, didn't you? They took you from us once. Guess they came back to finish you. Crying my eyes out in the studio is difficult. Music is the only place that I can go to speak to you. It took me everything inside of me to not scream at your funeral. Sitting in my chair, that person talking was pitiful. I wish you were here, Mama, but every time I picture you, all I feel is pain. I hate the way I remember you. I hate the way I remember you. You know, often in therapy we use that question, how do you want to be remembered? What qualities, what descriptive words, what would you like people to say about you, your values and the direction that they led your life in? You know, me as a dad, I'd want my kids to say, he was there for us. When we needed him, he was there. He mattered to us. Well, NF's mum mattered to him. That is it. So that's how I tend to prioritise my life. My children come first. They found you on the floor. I could tell that you felt hollow, gave everything you had plus your life to them pill bottles. You gave everything you had plus your life to them pill bottles. Don't know if you hear me or not, but if you're still watching, why? That never-ending question, why? You know, I speak with adolescents whose parents may have left them, or a parent left them, or they were separated on purpose due to some kind of neglect or abuse. And we often talk about whether they would want to see their parents again or their parent again. And the answer is most commonly yes. And the reason for that is because they want to ask the question, why? Why did they do that to me? They're trying to make sense of it and understand it. Then there's the chorus again. And then the last bit. Sometimes I think about things like, you know, when I have kids, I'm like, you won't be there, you know. You won't be there for any of that, and I'll never get to see you again. Sometimes I wish I would have just called you. I wish I would have just picked up the phone, wish you were here. I mean, you should have been there for us. You should have been here. Them pills got you, right? Them pills got you. I wish you were here. I wonder what impact all of this has had on NF being a parent himself. You know, there must be so many reminders for him day to day. And at the same time, he knows that the impact of not being available and there for his kids, so he can prioritize that in his own kind of value system. Oh, what a ride that was. There we go. Thank you, NF, for having the courage to share this with us. What did you think of this structure? Less stopping, more talking at the end? Or do you like the less talk at the end and more pausing the video as I watch it? This felt okay to me. There's bits, I have to go through the lyrics because I just can't hold it all in my head whilst I'm experiencing it. Obviously, I can't really talk to the video because I can't remember, you know, unless I stop it at the time. I just can't remember it later on. You know what I'm like. If you're not new to this channel, anything with kids, always has a massive impact on me. So there we go. Thanks for watching. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.